Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the December 5th, 2013 meeting of the City of Lowell License Commission. Was the meeting posted?
Yes.
Okay, first on the agenda.
Commission review of minutes from the meeting of November the 21st.
Commissioner Krieger.
I move approval.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Well done.
Next on the agenda.
For ratification, the issuance of a special license for malt beverages and wine only, or either one, to Peter Crew of the Merrimack Repertory Theater for theatrical performances by the Merrimack Repertory Theater at Liberty Hall, 50 East Merrimack Street on November 29th, 30th, December 1, December 5th, 2013. There are 4 dates in total for concession sales and service for 45 minutes prior to the performance and during a 15-minute intermission. The license number is 153SP 2013. It was issued on November 20th. And second application for ratification is issuance of a special one-day license for all alcoholic beverages for Scott Kennedy of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Lowell at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, 50 East Merrimack Street, for the event, the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Lowell Holiday Auction on Thursday, December 5th, which is this evening, from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. License number is 156SP, special permit 2013, issued on November 25th, 2013.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem ratifying either one of these, but we just gotta, these applicants have to start getting on time, I think. You know, I know the Boys Club was a special case, but, you know, I know that Ryan received a call and I received a call after the 2 week, you know, after our last meeting, the Friday after our meeting, and if you're planning an event as a nonprofit, I think you gotta have these licenses secure prior to 2 weeks in advance, so that way we can do it right, because God forbid something went wrong and
Exactly.
we didn't have them in here, you know, I just get nervous about that.
You know, and you're right, and if it becomes a trend, the only way we can deal with it is to deny one.
Right, exactly.
And that's ugly.
Right, so I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
I don't know, Chairman, I wonder if for the people that do come in and have come in.
Right.
I wonder if Ryan may be able to communicate that to those people, you know, that this has happened before, but it won't happen again.
Right.
So,
I'm sure.
just a note.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think maybe a first step is somebody has to show for ratification.
No,
And
yep, I agree.
they've slipped today, but
Right.
Yep.
Peter Crew from Merrimack Rep.
Right. Is there a reason why the application for the November 29th, 30th, 1st through 5th wasn't filed on time?
Yes, one of our staff members was out sick and caused a slight delay in the filing. We
I mean-
apologize.
I mean, you guys are almost always on time, so I'm not speaking to you guys so much, but we just want to get everyone trying to meet the deadlines. And I know I see you on here for the upcoming ones, and typically, the Repertory Theater is always in compliance. So I hope, I wasn't directing that at you specifically, but just
Not
in
at all.
general.
And we do apologize for being late this one time.
I figured.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that was a motion by Commissioner Occasion, second by Commissioner Krieger to approve, and that's unanimous.
Yes.
Commission will now take up number 4 on the agenda, special one-day license application for malt beverages and wine only, or either one. Andrew Jacobson of the Brewed Awakening Coffee House for Friday, December 13th, from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. The event is a holiday open house at the coffee house at 61 Market Street.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Andrew Jacobson.
Andrew, have you had this license before?
Yes.
How many times?
The last one I think was about 3 years ago, but there was probably maybe about half a dozen, if that.
Okay. And you haven't had any issues?
Nope.
No. Just remember that the license is in your name. It's not in Brewed Awakening's name.
Correct.
It's your
Yep.
name, so you have control over who gets served and who doesn't get served.
Yep.
If you have any issues, call the Lowell Police Department. I know you guys run a good spot, so I don't anticipate any issues, but just remember that the buck stops with you.
Exactly. Yep.
Make a motion to approve.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Good luck.
Thank you.
Commissioner will now take up the matter of the special license application for malt beverages and wine only, or either one. Peter Crew of the Merrimack Repertory Theater for theatrical performances by the Merrimack Repertory Theater at Liberty Hall, 50 East Merrimack Street, for the following dates: December 6th, 7th, 8th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21, 22. Those is a total of 13 dates for concession sales and service for 45 minutes prior to the performance and during a 15-minute intermission.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Peter Crew, Merrimack Repertory Theater.
Peter, have you had the license before?
I have.
Okay.
I have no issues.
Move.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Good luck.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner now take up the special one-day license application for wines only. Karen Boutet of the Zeitgeist Gallery at 167 Market Street. The event is the Andover Artists Guild reception, Saturday, December 14th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Karen Boutet, Zeitgeist Gallery.
Aye. Karen, have you had a license before?
Yeah,
And you're getting your alcohol through a approved distributor,
right.
all right? I have nothing. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Thanks.
Commissioner now open a public hearing on the application for the transfer of the malt beverages and wine only package store license from Market Street Market, Inc., Jeanette S. Nason, manager, for premises at 95 Market Street, one on number 2 on north side, first floor, one room for retail and storage, approximately 1,500 square feet, basement storage only. The transfer from Market Street Market, Inc. is to a corporation called Cyrus Enterprises, Inc. For the president is Minna M. Riscala, and there was a legal notice published in the local newspaper on November 22nd for a hearing this evening.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Members of the commission, my name is Attorney Tom Truax in Salem, Massachusetts. And to my right is Mina Riscala, and to his immediate right is Akram Keela. They are the principals of the proposed transferee corporation, which is Cyrus Enterprise, Inc. In addition to being the principal, Mr. Keela is also the proposed manager for the business. The underlying purchase and transaction is pretty straightforward. It's set forth in the documents that were provided to you in the promissory note in the purchase and sale agreement. It's a $125,000 purchase price, $70,000 cash, with a balance of $55,000 being financed by the seller. Seller financing, a copy of the promissory note was provided in the package as well. As for experience, both gentlemen just completed BAT training with the Mass Package Store Owners Association. In fact, they just did it 2 nights ago. They will have their cards coming, and we'll be glad to provide those to the commission. In addition, Mr. Rescala has been working and presently works at Central Cafe and Convenience, which is a package store and restaurant in Holliston, Massachusetts for the past 1.5 years. Prior to that, he was working at a 7-Eleven in Bellingham, which was also a package store, and he had been there over 1 year. In terms of the common victuals license, they both have, Mr. Rescala has worked, as I indicated, in a restaurant setting at the Central Cafe and Convenience, but he also, prior to working at the 7-Eleven, he was in the pizza restaurant business. So this will not be foreign to him, and both parties anticipate working at the store. Mr. Keela will be working more of the night hours as manager. His proposed hours are probably going to be in the range of 5 to 9, 6 to 9 on the weekdays, and from open to close, which is 8 to 9 on the weekends. So the more important hours, Mr. Rescala will be there as well. There will be 2 people working there. But as to the more important hours, which have to do with the beer and wine, Mr. Akram Keela will be there covering those hours, which are usually the evening to the night closing hours and on the weekends. As I indicated, Mr. Rescala has had restaurant experience, therefore, we would respectfully request that the petition for transfer of the license, as well as a petition for a common victualer's license, be approved, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
What type of market are they going to run?
It's still the same as it was there before. Nothing's going to change. Essentially, it's a small cafe with a convenience store. I've been there a few times. It's just going to remain unchanged, the operation. So there will be no change in the variety and the goods that are being sold, as well as the services that are being provided.
Especially with the influx of downtown residents in the city, I think, the store provides a great service to the residents of downtown. The one thing that I'll caution you on is the university now has the dorm downtown, and if you get a reputation of selling to minors, it's going to be a short-lived venture. So make sure that I'm sure you went through the training, and I know you have a very good attorney who is experienced in this, and I'm sure he read you the riot act as to what you're supposed to do and what you're not supposed to do. So just make sure that you carefully check everyone's ID and don't get that reputation, okay? Sure.
So you're not serving drinks to customers, you're just selling?
This is a package store only, yes.
Okay. My other question is this named after the original Cyrus or some later version of Cyrus?
That's an Egyptian thing, so I guess I'll let them explain that to you.
It's like a church name. It's like a Christian name.
It's a Christian name.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of the Emperor Cyrus.
No, I don't think so in this case.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's got to get approved by the ABCC.
Just to that effect, I've had a flow chart, which I didn't get a chance to get to Mr. Wynn, so I'd just like to get that. I know the ABCC would like to see that.
Just, can you hold on 1 second? Ryan? Ryan, we have to open that up for a public hearing. Did we?
Commission certainly may entertain comments from the public.
Let's just reel back for a second. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in favor of this application? In favor, seeing none, that portion of the hearing is closed. Anyone who speaks in opposition? In opposition, seeing none, that portion of the hearing is closed. And we'll make a motion to, I'll make a motion to
Amendment.
Amend it, yeah, you'd have to, right?
I'll make a motion to approve the license.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved, just so we have it.
Nice and clean.
Formalities, yes.
You got it.
Thank you very much.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Get this out of here.
What's that?
Commission will now proceed to number 8 on the items for the agenda. This being a hearing for Lowell Used Auto Parts, Inc., Ralph J. Tucci Sr., President, to amend a Class 3 used car junk license, number 82-C, by deleting certain section of premises from the description, specifically 121 Tanner Street, open lot of 47,000 square feet, for storage in a 2-stall garage, 1-story office building.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Ralph Tucci.
Okay. Ryan, we've taken this up before.
Yes,
Somebody, right?
there was a discussion with Mr. Tucci about 6 weeks ago, in which he approached the commission on the fact that he has a Class 3 used car junk license, that the premises is quite extensive, but for personal financial reasons, he is seeking to have a certain portion of that premises, which has just been duly noted, that is, the location of which is 121 Tanner Street. The lot itself is approximately 47,000 square feet. This does not eliminate the fact that he would retain his Class 3 license. He still has other sections of the Tanner Street location across the street, I believe 108 Tanner Street, in which he would still be able to conduct the Class 3 used car junk business. The next item on our agenda is specific to the basis for Mr. Tucci's application before you now, wishing to have his license premises altered in such a way that it would be removing 121 Tanner Street from that description. So therefore, no storage of junk or parts of motor vehicles would be permitted at 121 Tanner Street. It would be strictly, presumably, for sale and storage of secondhand motor vehicles, but that's, I'm getting ahead of it.
So by removing this portion, this car lot of 47,000 square feet, the junk vehicles can only be kept at the portion of the license at 131 Tanner Street. Right here.
Right.
Okay, the 121 Tanner Street is the actual, you have the plan, it's more
Okay.
proper
Yeah.
to the situation. It just so happens that there is an area
125.
that at 131, or right between 131 and 121 Tanner, that offers like an office, the building,
Yeah, I own that property, yes, yeah,
that's where the building is.
Yeah.
And that's where your office would be for
Yeah, right.
121 Tanner Street.
right. But all the junkyard would be across the street at 108 Tanner Street. Nothing would be on that side of the street, it'd be on the opposite side.
Okay.
So would the Class 3 still be in effect for 131 Tanner?
No, 108 Tanner Street. There's no license at 131 Tanner Street.
If you look, there is a copy of his license amongst the papers. I don't have one in front of me now, so I just. And that's the complete description presently.
Right, 101 Tanner Street, approximately 125,000 square feet of land and 4 lots adjacent, approximately 125,000 square feet. 121 Tanner Street, open lot of 47,000 square feet for storage and 2-stall garage and 1-story office building. Rear 110. So all that stuff is on the other side of the
Right, yeah,
street.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So we're just deleting this 47,000 from this license.
right.
Okay.
And the Class 3 license allows them to have both junk and used cars?
As it stands right now, at 121 Tanner Street, he is selling secondhand motor vehicles from that location. However, he could theoretically, and he may have junk vehicles at that site, and he may have parts to be sold off that site from the junk vehicles that are possibly on storage. But
So what's the difference between a Class 2 and a Class 3?
strictly by definition by state law, a Class 2 licensee used car dealer, underscore the word dealer, is for the sale and storage of secondhand motor vehicles. That's it, period. Class 3 used car junk, underscore the word junk, allows the licensee not only to sell secondhand motor vehicles, but to allow the licensee to sell the parts from motor vehicles, to store junk vehicles on the premises. The restrictions for that type of license are much greater than it is for a Class 2 used car dealer. Mr. Tucci had consulted with the Office of Developmental Services, as I understand it. Somebody from that office had spoken to me about the matter and stated that they had no issue with the proposal that he has before you now. If he wished to revisit the matter of 121 Tanner Street as possible used car junk lot, Class 3, it's my understanding a matter would have to go before the Zoning Board of Appeals.
So you understand that going
Oh,
forward?
yes, yeah, no, yes, I understand, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, so you understand that now you can't sell the junk parts that are on 121 Tanner Street? That's
Yes,
gonna
I
be
understand
removed.
that, yeah.
Understand
No
that.
junk cars, no selling parts, just used car lot.
And if we went to a number 9 on the agenda, that's gonna be that lot will be if it's approved, will be a used car dealer's license.
That's
and
only,
it.
yes, yes, it would.
So you understand what's going on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I understand.
And you haven't been in front of the commission for any disciplinary violations at all, have you?
No.
And how long have you been in business in Lowell?
30 years,
30 years, okay. Everything looks good?
It really does.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So moved. Next on the agenda.
thank you.
Okay, now the commission will proceed with the second aspect of the matter, which is hearing for Lowell Used Auto Parts, Inc., Ralph J. Tucci, Senior President, for used car dealer license, Class 2, for premises at 121 Tanner Street, open lot, 47,000 square feet, for the sale and storage of motor vehicles, 2-stall garage, 1-story office building. The applicant requests a maximum number of vehicles for sale and storage at 100.
Introduce yourself for the record again.
Ralph Tucci?
Okay. And you said you've been in business for 30 years?
Yes,
So you understand what a used, Class 2 license is?
yes,
Okay.
Also, if I may just
Yeah.
point out that as a Class 2 licensee, by state law, such a licensee is required to have a $25,000 bond,
And is-
whereas a Class 3 used car junk is not.
Has the bond been filed?
I have with that paperwork, there's a copy of a receipt for the $25,000. I'll be needing the copy of the bond from your
insurance company.
insurance company.
Yeah, no problem.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Looks good.
So moved.
Thank you.
You're all set. Good luck.
Copy that. Yep. Oh, those are your copies.
These are I made.
Yes,
double.
I kept everything together, Ryan, that you gave me.
You should have everything there.
I didn't take anything out.
Actually came prepared. Oh, yeah.
Commission will now proceed with number 10, the hearing for Europa Auto Sales, Inc., Judy A. Barrett, President, for consideration of the cancellation of the used car dealer license Class 2, license number 703-B, premises at 35 Maple Street, Unit Number 7. The Europa, the corporation, was dissolved by the Secretary of the Commonwealth, June 18, 2012, and the property manager of 35 Maple Street stated to the board secretary that Europa is not a tenant at 35 Maple Street. Mr. Chairman, if I just may, there is a young woman here at the council chamber who is brought to my attention a certain circumstance in which a good friend of hers was engaged in a purchase of an item purportedly sold by Mr. Mario DeFreitas, who is a principal corporate officer in Europa Auto Sales. Though that particular transaction, I don't believe directly impacts the Class 2 license, but on review of the licensee's corporate status and tenancy at 35 Maple Street. Come to find out that Europa, as noted in the agenda, was dissolved by the Secretary of the Commonwealth, and that I'm speaking with the property manager at 35 Maple Street. He was emphatic in stating that Europa was no longer occupying a unit at that location, neither at 35 Maple Street or another purportedly business address for Europa at 91 Maple Street.
Introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Raymond Weicker. I'm here on behalf of Europa Auto Sales, and I'm here with Mr. Mario DeFreitas, who is a principal in the business.
Okay. What's the tenancy status of?
The tenancy status is such that several months ago there was a fire. There have been disputes with respect to whether rent should be paid while its repairs are ongoing. The business is currently not operating as a result of that. There is an insurance matter that is being adjusted. There's another attorney at another firm that is handling that matter. That has been progressing, but it has been slow. The situation is such that he has not been doing business for the most part these past few months as a result of that business damage and business injury. With respect to the Secretary of Corporation's dissolution, approximately 2 years ago, Mr. DeFreitas was in and out of the hospital on a pretty regular basis. He had 7 surgeries that year, and most of those stem from having been robbed and shot while a tenant at that property address. While he was in the hospital, more or less the person who is named originally on this notice was the person taking care of the books, and all of the other filings got done. Licenses were renewed, taxes were paid by federal and state, and what wasn't done was the annual filings with the Secretary of Corporations. As a result, under Section 101, the dissolution entered once more than 2 years have gone by, generally on the 3rd anniversary of a non-filing. This happens. And I believe that it happened in June of this year. Now, this was while the business was closed, and to be honest, it's not something that my client was even aware of until he received this notice from you. When he came to me, we tried to take steps immediately to cure it. We've corrected and prepared all the filings. They were signed today at my office. They're being filed by my secretary in the morning, along with the application for reinstatement. All the fees have been paid. So we expect that as of tomorrow morning, everything should be straightened out paperwork-wise, and that was all done this evening.
So the corporation will be revived and it will be up and running? Yes.
All the annual filings have been completed, and the application for reinstatement has also been done.
At 35 Maple Street or at 91 Maple Street?
And that's where the issue is going to come around right now. Currently, the status with the Secretary of Corporations lists both addresses, and the reason for that is that as the business had grown, he had leased additional units. So at one point, he had an area where he was keeping cars that needed work done on them for detailing and other minor repairs, and he had a place where he was doing his business. So there are both addresses listed with the Secretary of Corporations. Following damages and the business being closed, there's going to be a decision that needs to be made. We may be, and I anticipate we will at least be in front of you to change some of the specifics with respect to where it's going to operate. Now, it may be in a different unit inside that same complex of commercial condos. They're commercial industrial condos on Maple Street. It may not be in the same unit. A lot of that's going to depend on what the insurance proceeds allow for rebuild versus whether it's cheaper to just move to a different location inside the same facility, and how much money needs to go back into equipment for maintenance. You can imagine a lot of things there get destroyed, especially when you're dealing with equipment and products that are used in detailing and cleaning cars. So,
if I wanted to find Mr. DeFreitas tomorrow, could I find him at either 35 Maple Street or 91 Maple Street?
No, you would probably not find him there. That business has been not doing business His mail is being forwarded to him, and that's where we're at right now.
So what does he need a license for?
Well, we don't want to have the license canceled. What we'd like to do is get the business back up and running. We anticipate that it has been approximately 5 months now that the matter has been ongoing with the insurance company. It should be coming to a resolution soon. That is the latest information I have. He's in a position where he does need to reopen his business. That is the means by which he supports his family. He has not had a regular income as a result of this being closed. So obviously, the incentive for him is to get the insurance matters ratcheted up or wrapped up as fast as possible. And that's part of the pressure that comes with settling any case, is that sometimes you're faced with taking less money in order to get reopened than you're otherwise entitled to. And that's what's ongoing right now. His incentive is to reopen as soon as possible, to get back into doing business, to just do his normal meeting his bills.
And when was the fire again?
Sorry. 91 Maple Street. It was at the 91 Maple Street address.
So what's going on at 35 Maple Street right now?
The unit was sold.
My apologies. That's the unit that was sold by the,
Just not so long ago.
I'm confused.
so, and a lot of,
It's the same building.
it's the same building, it's different doors down. It's the same complex there. So, and again, a lot of this happened during the renewals,
You know where it is.
Yeah, I know exactly what
so.
I've been there for 20 years.
And he's been literally at that Maple Street complex for 20 years now. This is just being a few doors down. So, like I said, my anticipation is that once we get the corporation status corrected, we'll probably be back in front of you to change an address on a license. But right now, there is still a limited inventory of vehicles. In the event that he does want to sell a vehicle, he needs to be properly licensed. In the event that he does want to buy a vehicle, he needs to be properly licensed. He doesn't have a facility where he can really do thriving business. It has been piecemeal. That is where we're at. I just asked that the commission not revoke the license. If we wanted to set this for a further status date to check the progress on the corporate revival, I'd be happy to do that.
I mean, in terms of I'm not too concerned about the corporate revival because you've made the representation that you're gonna file the paperwork tomorrow and it should be all set tomorrow. And I know that that's how it works. So I don't have a real issue with the corporate revival. It's more about the license. You know, I asked if I could find you at 35 Maple Street and you said no. And, you know, that's what's on your license. So I guess I'm a little confused too.
Well, it will never be 35 because 35 has been sold.
That's correct.
So you submitted to the state 91 Maple, I would assume then.
I will have to double check what was prepared. I didn't type them myself,
All right.
but
Then what, but the license says 35 Maple Street, right?
and yes, it does. And that's why I anticipate coming back in front of you with a change of address.
So,
We can't
at
keep 35.
35 Maple, where do you put the cars? Behind the building? Inside.
Inside, which is why at one point he had up to 3 units that he was using, some of them for storing vehicles.
For a location that you have no privity of contract.
And that's how he ended up with 91 as an additional storage unit.
So let's just cut to the chase here. You can't really have a license for 35 Maple Street because there's no privity of contract with the unit. You
Privity?
don't have a lease.
Privity?
Yeah, you don't have any.
That is correct. That's why I said I would anticipate. And this is something I'm only just getting involved in
No,
as of today. So what I'd like to do is file the appropriate paperwork to change the address.
I mean, because it doesn't make sense for us to have a license. To me, it seems like, I should put on the microphone. To me, it seems like it's a pocket license, so you can go to the auctions and buy and sell cars. But if there's no unit 7 at 35 Maple Street, how can we have a license for that address? I guess that's my concern.
Can we,
If the RMV comes and says, where is Mr. DeFreitas? And they come to Ryan, and Ryan says, well, his license says 35 Maple Street, and they go to 35 Maple Street, and he's not a tenant or an owner, it makes us look pretty stupid.
Do you have any inventory?
Yes, sir.
How many?
I have 3 cars right now,
3. And where are they?
inside the garage, inside the unit,
What unit?
on 91 Maple
At
Street.
91, okay.
Is there a contract, a lease between you and the lessor, that 35 and 91 are part of the agreement?
He was originally leasing both.
Yep.
Well, he was originally leasing 35. He expanded and was leasing both. The owner then sold 35, so he consolidated. And that is about the same time that he was having health issues, and
So do
we
we have
find
a new,
ourselves
do we have a new lease, Counselor?
You know, Mr. Commissioner, I don't have the answer to that. I don't know if,
Yeah, I've been there for 20 years, it's just, me and the landlord are good friends, so it just.
Oh, we're trying to work with that, but
Sure,
Chairman
but I
Occasion
just
brings
have
up a
that-
good point, is that
The end-
we
the end of
can't
the
give you a
month
license for
comes-
35.
yeah, Usually, the end of the
Maple
month
Street.
comes and I pay him, you know, that's how we
So,
go about it.
you have 3 vehicles. Can he have those 3 without a license? Does he have to have a license to have those 3?
Okay, if I may, just, the gentleman is attempting to salvage what he can with respect to
Yes.
the Class 2 license. Looking upon the benefit that if his license is Attorney Weicker has just pointed out, if it's not revoked, then I believe he's not precluded from applying for a license for another location at another time. I think if the commission were to revoke the Class 2 license, presently in effect, though the premises is not accessible to Mr. DeFreitas, it could spell trouble for an application for another location in the near future, or after the first of the year. Things that the commission needs to just kind of reiterate some of the things we just talked about earlier with Mr. Ralph Tucci, and that is, a Class 2 licensee has to have a bond, $25,000 bond. It has to be for a specific business address. The City of Lowell License Commission is generally the certificate holder, so for a bond that's for non-payment of a premium, the License Commission office would be notified of the status of that situation, and within like 30 days, supposedly, if the premium is not paid, the licensee would be without the bond. That would be a violation of state law. The situation with, it's clear to me in my conversation with the property manager that 91 Maple Street is not presently accessible to Mr. DeFreitas or Europa Auto Sales. The fact that we have a license for 35 Maple Street is a matter that the commission should rightfully be concerned about because it doesn't exist for all intents and purposes, for purposes of this Class 2 license. And commission could just
This is what,
continue this matter for after the first of the year. if
well,
that-
why don't we do this? Why don't we, what do you, like, are you going to auctions still?
What's that, sir?
Are you going to auctions?
Yeah, once in a while I go with a friend of mine, you know, it's just,
Why don't we do this? What if we suspended the license until the next meeting and allowed Attorney Weicker to file the proper paperwork to petition us to amend the license for a location that they actually have some interest in?
Just point out that there's a lot of issues with respect to zoning that need to be addressed. If it's a site that's not on Maple Street at the complex, which comprises 35 and 91 Maple Street. I was there several weeks ago on a Sunday, curious that 35 Maple Street offered no signage or anything to indicate that Europa was operating at that building of that section of that area. But at 91, there was a small sign which indicated Europa at 91, one of the units.
And is Europa, is 91 Maple Street zoned for a used glass?
Yeah, it's in the same area. It's Essentially, what you're looking at in a description is that the trouble with this brings back some history to me with respect to another location in the city of Lowell that has multiple units in which an outside storage area, which is common to all of the occupants in the various units that are there. His license is specifically for indoors only at 1,600 square feet. You're looking at possibly several vehicles being parked in there for storage, sale, but essentially, it's a ticket for the car auction and to conduct his business in a convenient location where customers are accessible, or make a vehicle.
I mean, I don't wanna cause you any problems. I just think that we are taking, now that we've been put on notice that there is no location at 35 Maple Street, how can we sit here and say, oh, go right ahead, keep doing business?
I guess, Mr. Commissioner, or Mr. Chairman, what I could suggest is that the 3591 complex is really a single complex that just happens to have 2 addresses with multiple bays in it. The mail, obviously, by the fact that we're here tonight, still gets to him if it's sent to 35 because it goes to the same 3591 complex.
It was sent to 104 Rockingham Ave.
Oh, apologies.
That's why you got it.
But that is actually another person's address. But he can still receive everything there. Anything that comes in through the mail comes through the same mailman who delivers to the same group of boxes and, delivers it to the Europa, whether it's in a unit that's in the building on the left or the unit that's in the building on the right. I would just ask that rather than revoke it, creating the potential issues down the line, if we continue the matter, allow us to get this paperwork straightened out, I don't see that there should be a problem with doing this. This probably falls in the category of you could be a very good salesman, but sometimes not very good at the paperwork aspect of it, which look, that's not a neither here nor there. Some people are good at it, some people aren't. People have talents in all different fields. I think he's good at what he does, and the stuff, if he had left to somebody else, he probably wasn't that, and I think we can fix this.
Ryan, what is this woman here for?
Her name is Lisa.
Yeah.
And a friend of hers had a business transaction with Mr. DeFreitas, and she brought it to my attention and brought some records of that transaction. And it had nothing to do with a used car, but it had to do with the fact that it was a matter that involved the registry of motor vehicles. And if you wish, I know it's not specific to what we're dealing with at the moment, but it's through her that I became aware that there was something not quite right with Europa, and that the explanation she offered. So, in just the simple matters that we're talking about now.
Could you come to the lectern and?
My name's Lisa
Sound for the
Ferrera.
record?
Lisa Ferrera.
Lisa.
My boyfriend, Mr. Diaz, purchased a used camper from Mr. DeFreitas.
I used what?
A used camper.
Okay.
So, we were under the assumption that he was a licensed dealer at Maple Street because when we purchased this camper on August 1st of this year, the bill of sale says 91 Maple Street. So it wasn't located there though. Right. It was located in another area with his phone number. So the day we originally looked at it, I asked a couple questions, and they were very important to me because I have severe allergies and asthma. I said, Mario, it smells moldy in here. Oh, that's just because it hasn't been aired out. I found a wet spot. Oh, that's because I had just washed it. So me and Mr. Diaz believed everything that Mario said. We figured he's a licensed dealer, he's honest. Well, that same day after when we purchased it, I went to register it. And I have an RMV1 form, and Mario marked it as a clear title. So the woman at the registry said, I have to inform you that this camper was in an accident, a total loss, and whoever put clear it's wrong, and they know they shouldn't do that. So she wrote the word COLL for collision, and she put a big X across the word reconstructed, which I have the paperwork here if you need to see it. So I didn't register it, and I called up Mario, and I said, we have a problem. And he said, well, whoever is telling you that is lying or they're wrong. And I'm like, well, it's the registry. I said, so I kind of do believe them. He put me on the phone with one of his friends, and his friend told me, yes, that it was a salvage vehicle, and Mario buys salvage vehicles and repairs them. And this friend told me exactly where to look. So Mario agreed that he'd give us our money back. We said we don't want it. But he didn't have it that same day. So we said, all right. We said, we'll work with you. And he said he's going to resell it. Well, he'd have it advertised on Craigslist, and they'd call Mario, and he'd give out my number. Well, the people come to look at it, and they're like, what's wrong with this? A few people even said, I'm, very upset because it's advertised on Craigslist as super clean. He says, this camper is a mess. It has water damage, and it wasn't repaired properly. So, and Mario did give us $400 at one point. But then he said, well, instead of inconveniencing me and Mr. Diaz, he asked for one of the keys. And I was hesitant, but I gave him one of the keys. And at the end of August, somebody had told me, you better go check on your camper. So I showed up at almost 7 o'clock a.m. on a Saturday morning, and I found his brother sleeping in it, using the restroom, which was not connected. So I was kind of upset because it's under my boyfriend's name. He's responsible for it. So we found somebody, and we were kind of stuck because it was on my boyfriend's insurance policy, but it wasn't legal. It didn't have a plate. And we're like, but we have to get it out of there. So we got somebody to pull it for us. We paid it, and we moved it. And we took Mr. DeFreitas to court. Now, we lost. And we lost because we couldn't prove that it was reconstructed or salvage. And the reason that we couldn't prove it is because we listened to Mr. DeFreitas. He asked us not to put the title in our name, that when we give it back to him, once he pays us, we'll go get it notarized. Well, because we did that, we didn't have enough proof. So a couple days after that, I called the registry back. I'm like, we lost. And they're like, well, we don't know why you lost. And I wrote some letters, and I sent a certified letter to Mr. DeFreitas because that's what the court had instructed me to do, because I wanted to appeal it or find out why we lost. And they said I had to send it certified, return receipt requested. That was at the beginning of November. To this day, we still have nothing back from the post office saying that he received that mail. And, on the court documents, we wrote down that we were going for double/triple under 93A for knowingly being deceived, and we knew we had to write a letter for that. We didn't want that back. We didn't want extra money from Mario. We did want our court costs, and we wanted the $2,550, which we paid. And I found out we're not the only person that Mario has done this to. Now, the only reason that Mr. Diaz didn't show up here tonight, because he planned on it, Mario called him on December 3rd at approximately 8:17 p.m., saying, I don't know why you took us to court, and I'm waiting on an insurance payment, and I'm going to pay you. Now, my boyfriend is very trusting. Me, on the other hand, I'm very upset that, I honestly don't believe it because, he put 91 Maple Street. He's not there. I've spoke with, I don't know if it's a manager or the owner of that property, and I get a different story, but that's not, I don't know legally, what could be taken into consideration from that. But I have a paper from the registry, because we did finally get the title. It took us 4 weeks, and the title was wrong. And I told them that I was going to be coming here, and they said all they could do is they could give me this paper, and it shows right on it that the title type is R brand, which stands for reconstructed, and it has the word COLL right aside of it. I'm willing to provide, I have receipts, I have documentation, whatever's needed, I'm willing to provide it, because he done it to somebody else, and he's done it to us. How many other people is he going to do this to? I was under the assumption that by law, I'm not sure for a camper, but under the Lemon Law, I thought you were supposed to tell people that it was a salvage. And the reason that this one might not have come up as salvage originally is because of the year of it. It's a 1999. And I was told anything after 10 years in this situation that, we don't got to go get it inspected, but the title is going to come up. Now that we put it under Mr. Diaz's name, the title is going to come up saying, reconstructed / salvage or collision or something to the effect of it. And I find it could be dangerous because we don't know if the axle is, good on this camper, because there's obviously water damage, and we don't know if it's rusted, if it could be bent. We don't know, we're pulling this. We could be endangering somebody else's lives or our lives. So I don't know what else to say. Like I said, I have all the documentation, and I'm willing to show it or give copies.
Well, yeah. I don't think you're making up that you have the paperwork. There is.
Excuse me.
You have options going through the court, and we can deal with Mr. Or the license holder, relative to the allegations also. So thank you for coming tonight. And,
You're welcome.
Speaking. Attorney Weicker, do you have any response to?
I would simply say that this has already been a matter for the court. The court has already decided. Obviously, you've heard opinions as to why they may have lost, but the court, having heard all the evidence, has decided that their claim had no merit, and all those statements that you've just heard were decided to be without merit. I don't know how to answer a question that doesn't require a decision when it's already been decided. It's a question of how many bites at the apple, and.
Right, obviously you know that our standard's a little different than the court, but, what concerns me is that he gave him $400 back, and, correct?
That is correct. That was a good faith payment because they basically wanted money back on the title. They felt they paid too much for it. So he gave him $400 back, they agreed to it.
And he called him the other day and told him he's gonna give him the rest of the money back? Is that?
After he lost, the guy called him and said, I still want to have you buy it back. And he said, well, if the insurance matter comes around, I have no problem buying the vehicle back. He himself had owned it. He had used it. He has no problem buying it back when he's in a position to buy it back.
How long has Europa been in business in the city of Lowell?
Approximately 20 years.
Okay.
And this is the first lawsuit that has happened in those 20 years.
Have they had any violations with the License Commission, to your knowledge?
Not that I'm aware of. Obviously, it's not an issue that I've investigated, but none that I can think of going back.
And no issues with the RMV?
None with the RMV.
All right, well, this is what, I'm gonna make a motion that we suspend the license until the next meeting, allowing Mr. DeFreitas and Europa Auto Sales to file the correct paperwork to amend their license to show the location that they're at, and to have a lease, deed, whatever, for the new address. And if possible, I would like to see a plot plan or, you know, some sort of plan showing how many cars can fit in the unit, so that way we can properly amend the license. You know, how many cars can you have there right now in 1,600 square feet? Do you know?
I do not.
For, generally, if you're going to base it on a zoning board matter with respect to a spot for a vehicle outdoors, 180 square feet. So you're looking at
9 cars.
maybe, but I would welcome the opportunity to go inside one of those units to see how large they are.
Well, let's just get us a plan and get us some sort of, does he file an application to amend the address? Is that what he does?
He certainly has the necessity, I would believe, as far as the commission is concerned, to have an application to amend the license to another address. And what's conditional on applications for new licenses would be applicable to Europa, and that is a lease or tenancy agreement with the property owner, landlord, acceptable to the License Commission, understanding that any licensee of a used car has to have a $25,000 bond and proof of a bond, if not at the time the application might be up for consideration for approval, but certainly prior to an issuance of a new license. A plan of the premises to scale, an office area conducive to the business itself on the plan. And that the premises that the licensee is gonna conduct the business of the sale and storage of used cars at that location, not at other remote sites.
You got all that? All right.
Second.
May have heard it.
All those in favor say aye? Aye. Aye, so moved. So, I think our next meeting is December 22nd.
We are scheduled to meet December 19th.
So hopefully you can get it in prior to the 19th, and
Generally, if I may, just for the deadline for filing items for the agenda is would be Tuesday, December the 17th. To be able to duly noted on the agenda for the submittal to the city clerk's office, which has to be 48 hours prior to the time of the meeting.
so do your best to get it in for that.
I think we can make that.
All right,
All right, thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Am I allowed to stay here to ask you a couple questions after?
What's that, right?
Next on the agenda?
There was a brief comment discussion at our last meeting on the November 21st with respect to rules and regulations review. It's been about 7-8 months since the revision was approved, April 25th, 2013. We're just coming to the end of the calendar year, and one aspect to the revised regulations was to allow certain licensees, on-premise licensees, who sell and serve alcohol beverages for consumption on the premises. They wish to have an earlier closing time. I know that there was some discussion at the time we were discussing regulations. The police were hopeful that maybe there wouldn't be such a overwhelming exodus of patrons from licensed establishments at the same time, like at 2 a.m. And possibly, I know the commission had thought that if an offer of a reduction in license fees, assuming the applicant licensee was to seek an earlier closing, like a 1 a.m. closing or 12 midnight closing, or as early as 11 p.m. closing, that might have some impact on exodus of licensee patrons. But right now, it's when they did the renewals for the licensed establishments in November, this past November, about maybe 20 or some odd licensees were very much interested in having an earlier closing time because they were wishing to have a less license fee to pay. First and foremost, just want to upfront make it known to the club licensees will be paying a less amount, $500 less come January 1st, even if they retain their 2 a.m. closing. They'll be paying the same amount as a 2 a.m. licensee for a restaurant, which is $2,750 annual license fee.
We had done that because of
There was
some veterans clubs that
veterans were
weren't
sort
under
of
statute.
encouraged to ask for city council input on that matter, and the commission was more than willing to take that into serious consideration when they were doing the revision of regulations, so that would take effect this coming January 1st. Other aspects to the regulations, I know it's just starting to sink in with some of our licensees with respect to notifying the licensing authority and the local police when an incident arises on the premises or in the immediate area of outside the premises. So some of our licensees are now starting to get the message, trying to respond timely, but not necessarily are they all timely.
But we did get some.
We're getting some, but it's not what expectation had been last spring. But I think they're getting the message.
Well, I know Commissioner Krieger, at the time we approved these regulations, wanted to, 8 months out, have a review with all the license holders, if they wanted to come in and comment.
And the
Is that
public.
that's what I mean, in the
Yeah.
public, yeah. So,
Plus,
it's,
I've been making notes myself.
Yeah.
Trying to clean up the English, trying to avoid double, triple jeopardy and all that kind of thing.
so it's been,
Make it clean.
it's been almost 8 months, right? So, you think maybe in January of next
January.
year, we could have a meeting that we notify all the license holders? I'm trying to, I know you gotta do all your renewals and everything, so.
It's a very busy time.
Busy time, so once that's done, then we'll give you something else to do.
Slipping till February seems fine with me.
Okay.
So as not to confuse the license renewal, also to provide everyone plenty of time to, the public, including the owners, to go out and caucus about this, and we can receive their suggestions.
Okay.
And I suspect this will be sort of a two-meeting kind of thing, because people will come and testify.
Right.
Some of the things I will probably want to take under advisement and go home and think about a little bit, and then we'll come in and discuss. And
Sure.
so I see this as a two-meeting kind of thing.
So maybe the 2 meetings we have in February, whatever dates they happen to be, we can take it
idea.
up at those 2 meetings.
Good idea.
Need to
And,
talk it up, though,
yeah,
maybe get the Colin to mention it.
I like to try to stay out of the column, but, you know.
I've been there before.
Right. So,
Well, I'm sure the neighborhood groups, the organizations, I'll make it be known that the commission will be looking at revised regulations review in the February, and if there are any recommendations, suggestions.
Let's see how it goes.
Once I get this renewal phase out of the way, which would be up to December 31st, then after the first year, I can make a focus on the attention on the getting the word out about the regulations, and the commission would be welcoming public comment in the very foreseeable future with respect to that. Local police as well. I'm sure Superintendent Taylor will be more than happy to come before the commission to point out the pros and cons of what we presently have and what might be.
well, Captain Webb, it seems like we've had less complaints or less allegations of violations from the downtown area, but how is it actually on the ground? Is it?
I think there have been a little less violations, and I think a lot of that might have to do with the new regulations that we've found that they're pretty easy to work with. And I think due to the great attention it got when the regulations were being adopted, all the owners are more aware of what's expected of them, and they're trying to fall into line. Also, we have extra officers assigned every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night downtown on a regular basis on overtime, and I think that's had a great effect on activity down there also.
Good. And Ryan, did we kind of merge 11 and 14 together, or are we gonna take them up separately just now?
Well, yeah, just a quick update. 2 licensees did not file their renewal applications.
Okay.
That's Voices Entertainment and Molly Case.
Yeah.
I've heard from neither one about their interest in retaining a license for calendar year 2014, so I'm presuming that they're gonna close down as of December 31st. That'll be their last business day. There are 18 requests to have earlier closing times varying from 11 p.m., several for 12 midnight, couple for 1 a.m. Total of 18 right now. It's possible that there may be additional requests. Once I start sending out the notices for license fee payment, which will be due, effective, say, after December 19th through the 31st, there may be more people looking at their what they're required to pay for an annual liquor license fee, and they may suggest that they want to have an earlier closing. The idea of the earlier closing, some have expressed concern about certain dates of the calendar that are more conducive to having a later closing, that is retaining a 2 a.m. closing, but not necessarily 365 days of the year, like New Year's Eve for a matter, for that sake. I know the commission has unofficially discussed maybe possibly just lifting any restriction on the hour of closing on that particular day for all licensees who wish to be open to the legal max, which is 2 a.m. Bearing in mind, of course, is a part of our regulation is that all licensed establishments have to stop serving at 1:30 a.m.
Right.
and that patrons are not allowed into the premises after 1:30 a.m. And those currently on the premises are going to be given strong encouragement to leave by 2 a.m. So.
Well, this is what I was thinking. I've talked to a couple of license holders, and I think the 2 dates that seem to have been propping up with them are the New Year's Eve and the Folk Festival. So I'd make a motion that on the Friday and Saturday night of the Folk Festival, and that's been going on for 25 years, so, you know, it's typically, I think, the last weekend in July. But we can just say the Friday and Saturday night of the Folk Festival. And then on December 31st, all license holders will have a 2 a.m. closing. And I think that will alleviate some issues with some people that are concerned about kind of shutting themselves out from those 2 dates and not having the earlier closing. So that's my motion.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Ryan's your good friend now, boy. A lot less paperwork for him. A lot less paperwork for you, wait.
I was thinking of adding my birthday, but this is probably
Well, we can do that. But
Well, if you choose to go to one of our downtown establishments to celebrate your birthday, maybe the owner can come to us and ask for a
you know,
special
Superintendent Taylor told us.
dispensation.
Superintendent Taylor told us anytime we're welcome to go out with him.
Yep.
later,
That's
so we can
That's
do
right.
that.
Just to sum up the agenda, we have 2 applications, both of which are for applicants for beer and wine package store licenses. The first is Pratna Inc., Peter P. Sam is the clerk, looking for the beer and wine package store license for 408 Suffolk Street. A legal notice is scheduled to be published in the local newspaper on December the 19th. And also Bhumi C-Store Inc., Vilmal Kumar Patel, president, also for a beer and wine package store license for 382 Broadway. Also a legal notice for publication December 19th. Both applicants are required to notify property owners touching and across the street in any church, school, or hospital within a 500-foot radius.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Oh,
So
just
moved.
one, just one correction, if I may. That was a hearing for December 19th, but the legal notice would be for December the 6th. Okay, sorry. Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So moved.
Is there a legal limit to the number of hotels?